Welcome to The Engine on YouTube. Today, we're going to be talking about the AFC free agency moves. Johnny Fogel, Nick Friedman, Nick Falk via Skype. Yesterday, we talked about the NFC. You guys can go check those videos out. Those are some quality videos. We're going to be producing a lot of content these next couple of weeks because, we're all hunkered down for the coronavirus. Hope everybody's staying safe out there. But if I missed anything, Nick Friedman, fill him in. But I don't think I did.
Once again, hopefully you're enjoying your quarantine. Check out our NFC from yesterday. We're starting it out with the AFC East.
There's
four different videos.
Yeah, take us out.
AFC East. So we're going to start with the Bills. Mario Addison, edge rusher, agreed to terms on a 3-year, $30 million contract that includes $15 million guaranteed. Nick Friedman, Nick Falk, initial thoughts on this deal?
I feel like this is an overpay. They downgraded. They got rid of Shaq Lawson. And Addison's one of those guys who will get a lot of sacks just based on his system, but isn't really a true edge rusher or can't really bring – like he got maybe 11, 12 sacks last year. But I feel like on a Bills defense on this Bills defense, which is so stacked, he's just going to kind of get hidden behind more talented guys.
So,
I think 3 years, $30 million is too much for him.
He's 32, which he's been in the league for a while. He's definitely had some up and downs. I think he was drafted pretty early, but I think he almost got cut a couple times, and he's been mostly on the Panthers his whole career. He might have been on the Panthers his whole career. But he's a good inside pass rusher, but I feel like the Bills have enough of those guys. I feel like they could use a few more edge rushers. He's bigger.
I think it was an attempt.
I don't know.
Because they're kind of similar style, but Lawson's way younger and just not as good.
Addison's
just not as good.
And Lawson did not get paid. I don't even know if he got paid as much. So that's kind of crazy. And I just feel like they need more pure edge rushers. I don't know if that works for the Bills defense, but I would prefer them to get a younger edge rusher, which I guess is a lot harder to find and a lot more expensive.
They do have a hole there due to Jerry Hughes getting old, Lorenzo Alexander retiring.
It seems pretty unnecessary. I'd give it a B- because I guess it fills a bit of their need and adds some depth.
I'd give it like a C-. He's pretty old.
Because of the price, too.
I do just want to mention this. For some reason, this free agency, the 3-year, $30 million contract,
consistent,
extremely popular.
Yeah,
very popular.
It's very
skill
popular.
level based on who's getting it is ridiculous. Like you'll have a Brian Balaga getting it, and then a George Fant getting it. It's just all over the place.
It's really weird.
It doesn't really make any sense.
There's lots of teams getting these great deals, and lots of teams overpaying for these like random players, like Swain on the Cowboys too. Like, what? Are you kidding me? He shouldn't be getting any money.
He was a little less. It was Jarwin.
Yeah, Jarwin. Sorry, but there's lots of these players that are getting $10 million a year when they really haven't done anything in the NFL. And there's also players getting consistently under 20 who, at least I think, have a lot of potential and are pretty young.
I know I was thinking this because we talked about this a couple months ago when the Bills blew the 16-0 lead in the playoffs, that the Bills are an attractive place to go now because players are probably thinking, well, they're 1 me away from being able to push further into the playoffs. And now that Brady's gone, I think they're saving money, and then they make the big move. We'll talk about it in a couple of minutes with Stephon Diggs. And obviously they signed Josh Norman. But I think the Bills, I'm not saying, and we can talk about it right now or after we talk about all their free agency signings, but I think they're in the prime position to take over this division for at least the next 5-10 years.
I would
think
agree
the
with that.
one thing holding them back is if Josh Allen isn't able to develop into a better passer.
I trust Josh Allen. I trust Josh
Allen. I trust him on a 60-yard throw a lot. On a screen pass, I don't trust him at all.
He reminds me a lot of a white Cam Newton. He just has the intangibles. You know what I'm talking about? Like
he definitely does.
Cam Newton can arm a ball like 70 yards downfield. I could see Josh Allen doing that. Josh Allen's got really big hands. He's got a rocket arm. He's 6'6", which is the same height as Cam Newton. But like this team is very weird to me. And they've got last year they picked up a lot of low key guys like Devin Singletary, Cole Beasley. I can't remember who the wide receiver is. John Brown. And now that they have Stephon Diggs, which actually takes me to my next point about Stephon Diggs, this team is definitely a contender in the AFC.
Well, so going back to what you said about Josh Allen, like I think the most important thing for him is the Bills have built a really good team around him. He just needs to make sure he doesn't get a little Jameis Winston in him and start chucking the ball because obviously he can't throw the ball apparently 79 yards.
As good of an arm as anyone.
Yeah.
Maybe Mahomes.
But still, it's not a fair comparison.
There was a funny tweet.
The Bills are set up to win.
Yeah, there's a funny tweet with Josh Allen. It was saying this would be like Brett Favre playing Madden as Cam Newton and just chucking the ball everywhere, running everywhere, but also just being so reckless.
This team is very fun. This team is very fun, though, and I really like Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott was a low-key Coach of the Year candidate last year. He was never going to win, obviously, but this Bills team completely exceeded expectations from 2 years ago to this year, and I think they're in a prime place to win the AFC East next year and in following years. But moving on to my next point. Moving to my next point, Stephon Diggs acquired it in a trade with the Vikings. Now, we've already said this is a lot better of a trade than the DeAndre Hopkins deal that happened 2 days ago. But Nick Freeman, Nick Falk, do you guys like this trade? Do you think that it was fair on both parties?
So I think the deal was Stephon Diggs and a 7th-round pick for a 1st-round pick, 4th-round pick, and 5th-round pick? Or 5th-round pick and 6th-round pick?
It was a 1st-round pick, 5th-round pick, 6th-round pick, and a 4th-round pick. The Vikings got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think before the DeAndre Hopkins trade, this trade deal makes a lot of sense. But since there was such an absurd trade before, it seems like a haul.
Yeah.
Big time. But I think this benefits the Bills. I wouldn't say it benefits Stephon Diggs because he's going to miss Kirk Cousins throwing in those accurate passes. But, I mean, they needed a true number one. They were getting as much as they could out of John Brown and Cole Beasley, and having a bigger target is really crucial. They were probably going to draft one in the 1st round anyway. So how important is that pick if you're not going to be able to get a guy of Stephon Diggs' caliber?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd say this is a much better deal for the Bills because no matter what, you're losing a surefire player, a surefire valuable position player for just a few prospects. And it depends on the Vikings haven't been a historically good drafting team either. So, I mean, of course it looks good compared to the DeAndre Hopkins trade, but these kinds of trades are never going to work for the team trading the superstar.
We'll see.
I guess I wouldn't call him a
superstar,
but
he's a legitimate number one receiver, though.
Stephon Diggs really needed a change of scenery. I honestly think, like you said, the Vikings
couldn't have kept him, but if they had a way to if they could have made it work, then obviously I think they should have.
I think it would have. This was the best possible trade. I think this is the best value that they possibly could have gotten for him.
I would agree with that.
I think you're upset that you lost Stephon Diggs because of the moments that he's created for you, and he's so unbelievably talented. But change of scenery will be helpful for him, and the Vikings are gonna get a lot out of those picks, hopefully. Yeah.
But for the Bills, I would give this a B+. They filled a big hole, and they didn't give up a ridiculous amount.
I give this an A- for the Bills, and I give it a B for the Vikings.
Okay, moving on. Josh Norman agreed to a 1-year, $6 million contract with the Bills. Josh Norman has just not been the same.
He's been going down
1 year where it was absolutely
fighting with Odell Beckham.
That was he was unbelievable that year, best cornerback in the NFL, defensive player of the year candidate. But does this make that big of a difference? They need cornerbacks.
Well, I think it's actually a pretty good signing. I think it'll be nice for him to have a Tre'Davious White on the other side. He's not a great cornerback, but he might be able to show some glimpses of his old self. So he could revive his career.
There's of course when we're talking about these 1-year deals, we can't really grade them.
Yeah, there's no risk.
There's no risk at all. So I guess it's a good move. Maybe hopefully he won't be a locker room cancer, but I don't think he's that bad. So it's fine. Low risk.
Yeah.
Low risk, high reward. Quentin Spain, offensive guard, re-signed for the Bills, 3-year, $15 million. Seems like they need offensive linemen. They're not going to let their one good guy go.
Yeah, this is another deal. Even though that's been cheap for this free agency, that's still pretty expensive for someone who's just not very good. Yeah.
It's okay.
Compared to normal years, this kind of player should have gotten 3 years, $9 million.
Yeah, but it is you have to consider.
I mean, he's a legitimate starter.
You have to consider the CBA, and I think
he has good athletic potential, but I don't know if he's. I mean, this isn't an extreme overpay, but it's just
I kind of like
it's just a little weird.
I'm gonna say I liked it a lot. He's an average guard in the league, and with the way other offensive tackles or offensive linemen were getting paid, I think keeping an in-house guy for not too much is smart.
Also, I'm thinking
I'm just talking about in general.
If you're the Bills, you don't have that much cap space, and you already got Stephon Diggs, and you traded all your picks away. It's not like you can get another.
They still have a lot of.
They have a lot of cap space, though.
They have a lot of still.
They have a decent cap space, but it wasn't. This wasn't really the year to get an offensive lineman in free agency, 100%. So
there was a lot of depth this year.
There was depth, but
there
wasn't anybody
I don't
that you really
think their offensive line's that bad.
It's a solid line.
It's just where like Quentin Spain's not that bad either. Well, the guy they're losing.
They definitely need tackle. They definitely need tackle help because I feel like their interior is pretty good. Don't they have Mitch Morse? Isn't he still there?
Yeah, he's their center.
Yes. He's their center. He's one of the best centers in the league.
Cody Ford are tackles.
Yeah, Cody Ford is very raw still. I mean, I feel like they could use some tackle help, but this is a good move. The Bills are set up.
I like this Bills team, honestly.
All right, we talked too much about Quinn Spain.
That is the end of their relevant free agent signings. So, moving on, next team, Miami Dolphins team.
This is a big one.
Some would say the most disciplined team in the NFL. I would say that. Least amount of penalties in 2019, 2020. But,
also
maybe
like the worst.
Purposely tanking.
Maybe I love Brian Flores.
Allowing them to score instead of just, actually stopping them from catching the ball.
Maybe I love Brian Flores and his bald head. But starting with the relevant signings,
Okay.
Eric Flowers, offensive tackle. I know you guys aren't big on this signing. Agreed
He's
to
a
terms
guard,
on a 3-year, on another 3-year.
I don't know if they're going to play him at guard. I'm not sure if they're going to play him at guard.
He's listed as a tackle.
He was one of the worst tackles in the league. He switched to guard last year and was okay.
Yeah, he gets a holding. He gets a holding penalty like 1 out of every 3 plays. He's kind of garbage. So
this is a terrible.
Yeah, okay. Let's just say it. This is not a very good sign.
I'll be generous and give him a D.
They need players though. They need bodies.
Maybe they know something we don't. Like, did Eric Flowers just suddenly get better? I don't know.
Maybe Flowers just sounds like Flores. I don't know, but just this team, they need bodies.
That's true. Their offensive line is atrocious. So
I guess getting bodies. How much did they pay him again?
3 years and $30 million.
See, this is a deal where you're like, what? Like, come on.
Yeah, he's getting paid the same as Brian Bulaga.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, I think Bulaga's getting 3 or 39.
3 or 30.
Wow, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. I feel bad for Brian Bulaga.
Well, what grade would you give this, guys?
Poor thing. I gave it a D.
Yeah, I'd give it a D-.
We got double D's on you guys. Jordan Howard agreed to a 2-year, $10 million contract. Another signing.
This is interesting because I think he was a good fit on the Eagles with Miles Sanders. I just don't understand why the Dolphins want him. He's not a good pass catcher.
So yeah, I'm the same with that. I don't really understand why the Dolphins wanted him, but it's just more about the Eagles. Like, why would the Eagles let him go? If I were the Eagles, I definitely would have given him this deal because Miles Sanders can't be a workhorse right now. I mean, maybe they have other plans. Maybe they get Todd Gurley. But yeah, he can't. He's nothing compared to Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard was actually like pretty solid he was actually really good towards the end of that last year. So this is a good signing. I'd actually give this a B+. Lots of people are expecting the Dolphins to draft running back, but even if they do, this is another good running back to pair along with him.
I just don't understand why you want Jordan Howard on this organization.
See, the reason is
he has juice in the tank, but he's not made for a team like this.
That's a cheap deal, though. I'm fine with it. I like it.
I give it a C.
I give it a A-.
Okay.
Well, okay, moving on. The big signing for them, Byron Jones, 5-year, $82 million contract, $54.5 million guaranteed. I'm thinking this is a good signing. Top 10 corner in the league. They got him at I think he's the most paid cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
The highest paid.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it a lot too.
He's still pretty young, and what a new trend has been is really investing in that secondary. You'll hear me talk about it a lot. Him and Howard, if Xavier Howard's allowed to play, could be a pretty good cornerback duo for the future. And he wasn't too expensive. With their cap space situation, it makes a lot of sense.
I like what the Dolphins are doing. They're getting some players in the trenches, and they're making sure that secondary is solidified, so they don't run into. There's lots of teams who had serious secondary problems this year, and this could build a really good foundation for them to start winning soon. So I actually really like the deal. He's really athletic. He has a lot more to go. He can possibly be a really good player.
He's still new to cornerback. He was drafted as a safety.
He originally played safety
last 3 years ago.
Yeah, out of Connecticut. So I think it's a good deal. Lots of people were ripping on him like, oh, Byron Jones just leaving to go to this shit Miami team, making all this money. He doesn't care about winning. Like, just let him get the money. He deserves it.
Fun fact. So first off, I give this. I really like. Fun fact about Byron Jones: he has the world broad jump at the NFL Combine, which is technically the world record.
Wow.
Just watch that video. It's insane. After you watch this video and our other 7.
Yeah, I give it an A-.
I like it. Moving on. Shaq Lawson. Guess the contract. 3 years. $30 million. There you go.
Oh my God.
The Dolphins. Edge rusher. We like Shaq Lawson.
Great. I think this is another great deal.
I love it.
Underrated edge rusher. He's really good for this system. So I would also give it an A.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a career revival. PC started to fall off a bit, and then he got a little bit more sacks. So he's gotten a solid contract, another 3-year, $30 contract. But this is a really good deal for a young player in free agency, a rebuilding team, and it's not expensive. This is one of my favorite deals for free agency. I'd give this an A+.
This was a top 3 3-year, $30 million deal.
There's a lot of them, so.
My philosophy for rebuilding teams, okay, here's what you got to do. First, you get the quarterback, which they haven't done yet, but it looks like they're probably going to figure it out with
they're in a good place.
They're in a good place to get somebody.
Fitzpatrick's sustainable for another year.
You get a quarterback, okay? Number 2, get people to protect the quarterback. That's what they're doing. We'll talk about it.
I agree.
They need to do that a little more.
And then you go get people to go get the other team's quarterback. That's what they're doing right here. And that's what they did when they got Emmanuel Ogbah. But still.
For rebuilding teams, yeah. So I see what you're saying on the secondary thing, but I actually agree with Johnny. For rebuilding teams, you need to start with the trenches before. I don't get me wrong. I love the Byron Jones signing, but you should start with the trenches before you go out into the secondary. The secondary, I think, is the next level, but you need secondary.
I am happy.
It could go either way.
It's good that they got Byron Jones because it seems like he wants to come here, number one. They wanted to give him the money. They had a good amount of cap space. Obviously, they made a lot of acquisitions. But the thing is, if you have a top 10 corner on the market, even with my philosophy about going to get the quarterback, he's not a once-in-a-lifetime corner, but it's not like there's like a great corner just being all the time. You can't say no.
There's not going to be this many young talent. Don't even mention position or cornerback. There's not going to be many young, really good players in free agency like this.
Exactly.
So this is the steal.
It seemed like they were more set on getting him than Chris Harris. They were talking to him, but moving on. Ted Karras, offensive lineman, 1 year, $4 million.
Isn't it
Karras?
Okay.
He's a decent center. I liked it.
Depth.
Yeah. How much did he get?
1 year, $4 million. That seems pretty good.
Oh, wow. Really? Wow. Okay.
He wanted
pretty good.
Flores.
I thought he was better than that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great deal.
Moving on, second edge rusher that they signed besides Shaq Lawson, Emmanuel Ogbah, agreed to a 2-year, $15 million contract that includes $7.5 million guaranteed.
I actually like this. This is a cheap deal. I really like it. Low risk. I think it's a lot of potential, actually.
There you go.
I give an A-.
Okay. Kyle Van Noy, linebacker, 4 years, $51 million. This is a good signing, obviously.
Really great signing. He brings the edge rushing, which he showed last year.
He had a great year last year with the Patriots.
So
and he also is one of probably the best coverage technical edge rusher in the league. So he's very versatile. Flores will know how to use him. I think it's a really, really solid signing. I'd give it an A.
Yeah, I'd give it an A too. But the thing that I give it an A- because, Patriots players leaving and maybe not doing as well. But the thing that keeps that in the A range is Brian Flores being there. But I also love Kyle Van Noy for this young defense. I think our rebuilding team, they should mostly focus on young players like Dolphins did free agency, but then also get one guy like this, and he's almost the perfect guy for them. Mm-hmm. So I really like it.
All right, what do we got next?
We're moving on to a new team, the New England Patriots. Lost the best player in the history of the sport, the winningest player in the history of the sport. I'm not going to say the best, but
The best.
I wouldn't say as talented,
He's
but
the
that's
best.
winningest. Okay,
We can talk about that later.
different conversation. Bo Allen, defensive tackle, signing a 2-year deal worth up to $8 million.
I don't care.
He's depth.
Let's talk about what this team's going to look like without Brady.
But before we get to that, Devin McCourty, safety, agreed to a 2-year, $23 million contract. Makes sense. I think we said it was going to happen.
He's a really good safety.
But what you were going to say, Tom Brady, what this team looks like without him. What does this team look like without Tom Brady? Is it still a playoff team?
So what do we think they're going to do at quarterback? I personally think they're going to stick with Stidham this year.
I agree. I think it's going to be Stidham. Either Bill Belichick develops him into being a sick player. I think this would be smart. Or they suck and they have a chance at Trevor Lawrence. Which would just piss me off so much. But it would be really smart.
Maybe Belichick has been thinking the whole time that maybe Stidham has been Garoppolo the whole time and he doesn't care. And Stidham was about to blow everybody out of the water.
So this team was bad last year. He was bad. This team is really no talent right now. No young talent. No talent in general.
Great defense. Great defense.
I'm not really sure where they're going, but I'm just following them blindly because of Bill Belichick. Mm-hmm. So right now, I still trust the Patriots. Maybe not next year, but probably in 2 years, I think they're definitely a playoff.
Yeah. I mean, whatever quarterback they throw into this, whether it's Andy Dalton, whether it's Cam Newton, whether it's Jameis Winston, they're going to have no weapons and not going to have a big year. So maybe ride it, let's sit them and see.
Belichick definitely has a plan, though. He always has it figured out. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. But, that's all the things that they did. Moving on to...
They franchise tagged Tooney also.
And they also franchise tagged Tooney. What team am I missing here? The Jets, the New York Jets. So, Jets had an interesting offseason. As they do. George Fant, tackle, agreed to terms on a 3-year deal worth $27.3 million with a max value of $30 million. So
call it a 3-year 30.
Call it a 3-year 30.
What?
Thoughts on this
deal?
Are
you kidding me? Where did this come from? Where? This is so bad. Okay, is this another scenario where he walks in with a gun and he holds it up to the GM like Bill O'Brien? I think it's another scenario. This is so weird. He must be some hidden gem that they just have decided not to play.
Was they missed out on Conklin and then Joe Douglas, their GM, just shit himself.
The Jets are just all right, put it in. I don't know what it is. New York sports organizations are just never run well. Like from James Dolan, the Jets are horribly run.
Nothing's compared to James Dolan, but
nothing is compared to James Dolan. But that's a conversation for a different
maybe
time.
We're talking about New York sports.
Let's just get it out there. Who's the worst coach to you, Bill O'Brien or Dan Quinn?
Wait.
Oh, Bill O'Brien. Okay. Whoa, worst coach.
Okay.
Bill O'Brien's kind of a good coach.
In terms of such a bad coaches GM, last year, Freddie Kitchens was 2 tiers below everyone else.
All right, but
he was literally just like a dad who walked in and started coaching.
But back to the Jets, back to George Fant.
George Fant last year was the 6th offensive lineman on the Seattle Seahawks, who had a terrible offensive line.
Yeah, they were so bad. Okay, to be fair, the Jets' offensive line is horrendous.
Always,
it is.
It's always. I can't remember a time that it hasn't been. I can't. I mean.
Okay, we'll talk about their next signing. This is just crazy.
Connor McGovern, center, signing with the Jets on a 3-year, $27 million deal.
Connor McGovern is so much better. He's so much better. He's actually a good player. I love this signing. I give this an A.
He's actually good. A in the Phantom.
But where did what? I mean, it's not that much money, but where did Fant come from?
It's got to be tackle importance, but still.
Both of these guys are interior too. So
no, Fant is a tackle.
He is.
Well, McGovern's a center.
Maybe not
McGovern's a center.
Maybe not a capable one, but
Yeah.
We'll talk. I guess you could.
I mean,
Another
they were going to
offensive
lose
guard.
Robbie Anderson. Might as well swing him out at receiver.
Another offensive guard that they signed. They signed Alex Lewis. Agrees to terms on a new deal. The terms are not disclosed.
It was 3 years, $18 million.
There it is. There, it's been disclosed.
It's a cheap deal.
Reported here by Nick Freeman.
He's not good.
I like the
Joe Douglas
Jets
just called me
investing
up
in
and
our
told me the
line.
terms.
I
like it also, but they're not very good players. I guess McGovern's okay.
Yeah,
The Jets
they better do something in the draft.
But
I'm
the
not a
Jets had all this
fan, but
cap space, and they got rid of their cornerbacks and stuff. They have no secondary and no receivers, and they kind of got to start winning. Because
and in every position they're not good, and they have Sam Darnold who's just gonna waste his career there. So they're not in a very good situation right now.
Yeah,
to put it nicely.
But they have Le'Veon.
Oh yeah, he's going off. Okay, they got it. They got it.
Le'Veon's going nuts.
I forgot. My bad. Okay.
Yeah,
right,
well,
win now mode.
That will conclude this video about the AFC East. Click for the next video on the AFC. I think we're going to do North next. But
the AFC East is kind of boring, not going to lie.
Yeah,
other than the Dolphins. Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Fins up.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening.
We'll be back.